What's going on, guys? Good morning. I'm currently sick. I don't know, you probably can hear it in my voice. But I want to do first of its kind. This is not a live trade, not a raw footage, but this is going to be like a trade breakdown. And it's still just like uncut, like normal. But I want to go over my trades from today because even though I'm sick, I was still able to perform on a funded level. So I want to just go over, I took two trades today, and a part of my trading plan is to only take two trades in any given day, winners, two loses, whatever it is. So I just want to go over them, and I just think that they're really textbook low volume node setups, the thing that I trade every single day. So let's take a quick look. I'm going to go over here to review. Here's my XFA. Ignore that. Here's the two executions, one lots, small size. So I'm going to show you how I got these two zones, but essentially I executed a short here off of this low volume node, and I was able to just catch the 2R. You know, it's like scalping to me because I'd rather get paid than not get paid. I'd rather have the higher win rate because it just supports my emotions, and everybody's psychology and emotions are different. And for me, I found that I need a little bit of a higher win rate to keep myself in check emotionally, because if not, then I have a tendency to go on tilt when I don't see results of setups that I know work and that did work, but I wasn't able to make money. And I think that's a personal preference. Some people like the higher R's, and I will, as I continue to grow this model, continue to grow my win rate. Continue to grow my risk to reward. So like increasing to a 3R, 4R. But for right now, I'd rather hit the TP. I'd rather get paid. I'd rather see the result of the setup and know that I was, and already know that I was right and actually have benefited from it, because there's been many times where I was right and I didn't get paid and it gets missed by a tick. So I'd rather get paid than not get paid. So I think it's more of a personal preference. As long as your win rate and your risk to reward are both, optimal, they're both dialed in. I don't think one is more important than the other. So now the second execution down here is also a low volume node. You could probably even see it pretty easily where it was executed off of, and I just got in right off of the first tap. You see, I actually got hit by a tick, but I think it would have hit it anyways. So let's go over how I was able to actually find these low volume nodes, right? So here's the profile for the day. Now the first, I'm actually going to go ahead and let me see real quick. What was the executions? So for the first one was the 80s essentially. Yeah, so this low volume node right here. I took a short, so I had a low volume node aligning with the direction of the VWAP, which is a nice confluence, and then we also had the previous VWAP lining inside the low volume node, which is another nice piece of context. So we cleared through it, created a low volume node, which already kind of existed here from this overnight, and I wanted to see us pass through it and then come up for the retest, which you could see on this wick right here, where we tapped into the 80s, is the area where I got in. We created it like you saw. I was patient and I waited for a full pullback. I could have got in here. I almost did get in here, which would have been fine, but I decided to wait for the full pullback, and there were also some orders. We'll see that in a second. Waited for the full pullback into the low volume node. Right here, low volume node. And then I'm going to pull up I'm going to pull this up, the book map, the 80s. Here it is. That's too big. Okay. So it should be, I got short at 78. Okay, so I think this was the initial sell-off. Yes, perfect. Okay, so here is my entry up here, right? So we had, like you saw, the big sell-off, a little retest, but I didn't get in here. And then we had the pop up. And this is exactly what I wanted to see. Like a really nice aggressive pop up into absorption. An aggressive quick move is always nice for a reversal. So I wanted to see that. And so when you put the whole picture together, you paint a whole picture. You've got the directional VWAP. You've got the previous day VWAP. You've got the low volume node. You've got the passive orders sitting in. You've got the aggressive pop into those passive orders, and they get absorbed. So someone's popping the market up to get those orders filled, to get a quicker move down, and also trapping some participants here and here. So it's all just, you paint this big story, and all of this can be seen like in the moment. This is not an after the fact. This is not a hindsight capital thing. You know, it happened live. So you could see we had some bands here of heavy orders waiting to be filled, and we did get them filled there. And I was able to, on this first aggressive pop down, I was able to get in at the 78s. And I mean, you see this thing flushed right away down to my 6-point profit, my scalp, my 2R. So we got paid on that one. And it's on one lot, so it's about $300. And then now let's go back over here and look at the second trade. Move this. So then the second trade here is the exact same type of scalp, right, off of a low volume node. We created it here, respected it here, so like a inverse fair value gap, but just on anabolic steroids. And we can see my entry was 67s, so it's the zone for the 61. So right here, yeah, this whole little chunk of space right here is what I was really looking at. And then I guess my entry was the 67s. Is that what it said? So, yeah, this one was so quick. Let's look at the book map, because like the book map is honestly just the most important thing for me. That's what I use the most. So here it is right here. So we had the aggressive pass through the low volume node, right? And then for this one, honestly, to see it bottom out, I saw us. I'll put a pin in that. I'll show you in a second why I wanted to see a move up and why I wasn't continuing the trend down. But here's the pass through the low volume node, right? And then I really just wanted to see this first tap here into this absorption, because we kind of got like a little bit of a pullback here. Wasn't enough for me because I was already up 1R or 2R on the day, so I didn't want to just blow it on some nonsense. So I really just wanted to wait. I was being stubborn about it. And so I saw us fill this, and then we crashed down a little bit further right away and got in to fill some of this passive buying here. And then immediately I saw this some aggressive buying step in and hit the market. And that's when I entered at 67. So right about here, right before this big, it was right before this big buyer, aggressive buyer stepped in. I remember I was in the position. The big buyer stepped in. The delta, that's not delta, that the volume for that specific point flew up. And I said, okay, this looks good. And we just continued to rally. And I was really just wanting to see a pop up above this big, like it was like 250 lot passive order just sitting here, and I just wanted to see a pop into that, and that's exactly what we saw. Immediately just tapped my TP right there. It was perfect. It was nice. They're so fast, and I'm getting paid on these setups, so that's the point. Oh, well, it's only a 2R. You're getting paid. That's the point. There's so many, and I know that's like average for most people, but I was trading in a place before this where we would look for 5R, 6R. So to me, I'm getting paid, and that's more important, I think, than hitting home runs. Just getting those base wins, and the fact that I was able to stack up 2 of them today. And honestly, there was no magic behind it. I had a YouTube video playing right here in front of my monitor on my phone, and you just relax. Don't try to rush anything. Just be nonchalant about it. And then I'm going to show you why I thought that was the bottom too. I'm going to switch. But being nonchalant, just act as somebody who doesn't need anything from the markets has been the biggest thing for me. Don't try to rush things. Don't think about the money. Just look for your quality setups. So check this out. This is the bottom down here of the session, and we built this volume node here and here. And then also the book map, it was also telling us that we were very, very undersold here on the RSI. So that kind of was just, I would never take a trade off of it or try to catch a reversal. I'm not going to catch a falling knife. But this is really just what I wanted to see was something that caught my attention. So I said, okay, well, perhaps we switch gears and see if we can get a higher move into the POC. And that's exactly what happened. So really just this volume node building, which means a lot of volumes being conducted, but there's no follow through. So the sellers are just like, think of a truck stuck in the mud, and they're just sitting there spinning their wheels. They're stuck in the sand. You're just spinning the wheels. You're pressing on the gas harder and harder and harder, but you're not moving. Your truck's not moving. You're stuck, right? And so they're just getting absorbed by the sand. They're getting absorbed by a big buyer here, and that's, I mean, you could see this candle, how big it flipped. So that's it. I took 2 trades today, up 4R total. I just wanted to go over them because they were very, very textbook. It's the thing that I'm going to be teaching on this channel, the low volume node setups with retests, and I like to call it the institutional defense theory. I have a whole report and a study on the institutional defense theory, and it's something that I'll release later, but it's the whole concept of how these big players put on their positions and then defend them. So that's it. Thank you very much for your time. It's about 12 minutes going over these 2 winning trades. I locked out 2 winning trades on an XFA with Top Step. So that's all it takes to get paid. So have a good rest of your day. Thanks.